One of my favorite memories is Sister would always say, see, I'm going to cry when I talk about Sister. Give God 5 minutes a day. And that, that just stuck.
Like the morning prayers that we had were always entertaining. She would have a group of kids that would come up and hold the baskets, her helpers.
Yes.
And she could never say no to any child. So
she would have a train of kids.
And I think at one point she had 23 student helpers up there with her because she just
for
couldn't say no.
For one
morning prayer.
One morning prayer.
For morning prayer, we used to all meet in the gym, and you would sit and wait for Sister Ann to start. So you would always see her coming down the ramp to start morning prayer, and she always had this line trickling out to her for her helpers for that day. And I remember my favorite thing about helping Sister Ann was she had this basket where she put her microphone in and everybody's whose birthday was that day, and it was just the most exciting thing in the world when she picked you to hold the basket.
I liked when I got to hold the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance and holding the rosary, because for the month of May we pray the rosary every day, and so she had this big giant rosary and she'd pick 2 people to hold, one on each end, and it was always so much fun to be called up and impress Sister Ann and go up there and be a part of morning prayer.
Sister Ann had a wicked sense of humor, which a lot of people may not know. When I first started working for her, she was my boss, but she became my friend. And then over the last 15 years, I worked for her in the summer, and one morning she hadn't come into work, and we were starting to get worried, and Kathy and Diane were like, no, she didn't tell us anything. And all of a sudden we heard a cell phone ringing, and I looked around, nobody claimed it was their phone. And I walked into her office and I picked it up and I answered the phone, and it was Sister Ann. And she said, honey, I can't find my cell phone anywhere. I think the cat knocked it off into a trash bin. We've looked everywhere. And I said, Sister, you're calling me on it. And she said, oh, for goodness sakes, I'll be there in a few minutes.
I think people would be surprised to know that Sister Ann just had a great sense of humor. She was hilarious.
She was.
I mean, she'd have one-liners and you'd look at her and you weren't really sure if she was making fun of you or not. And you're like, good one, Sister. And she was pretty proud of herself too when she had a good zinger at you. So that was always a fun part of Sister.
My favorite memory of Sister Ann would be when I was a kid here. She used to bring in stuffed animals of cats, and she would sit them out and you had to write a story about the adventures of her cats. And it was the most creative thing because everyone knew you were doing something for Sister Ann, but you got to be so creative. So it made everyone want to get better at writing and try their hardest to impress Sister Ann with the adventures of her cats.
And she would give us 2 minutes of prayer at the end of the day when all the students could reflect on what the day had been like.
I think the best part was about that was that some days it was 30 minutes or 30 seconds of prayer, and some days it was 5 minutes of silence, and you'd be sitting there waiting and thinking, oh, Sister must have had a bad day. She's doing a lot of praying today. And the kids would just be sitting there looking up at us
And we'd be like,
just
yeah,
pray
we're
with
just
Sister.
praying.
Just pray with Sister.
And it was near Vocations Week, and being a sister, talk about being a sister, and she came down, I asked her if she'd have a few stories. And one of the things she said to the kids, and I actually wrote it down, was that you have to enjoy life. It's not only about being holy. And she told us how she started a pinochle club, and some of the sisters thought that was just too much fun, and they left the group, the little card group. But a lot of them, she said, we had so much fun, and I'll always remember that.
back when we were in Our Lady of Sorrows, and it was Sister Ann was principal and I was the only teacher, she would often pull up in the partition. She'd say okay, what are we gonna do for hot lunch today? I'm going to McDonald's. How many hamburgers do we need? Who wants a cheeseburger? Who wants a cheeseburger? Who wants a hamburger? And that's how we did hot lunch.
Did you have hot lunch every day?
Not every day. Whenever Sister wanted to probably have a hamburger.
Right. Yeah.
I think what surprised me so much about Sister Ann was you've got this amazing woman who's given her life to education and to her faith, and yet she never acted like that. She never, threw anything in your face about your own faith. It was kind of I don't know, she was so humble, And she just let everybody's faced with their own, and she didn't judge. She just never judged people. And the coolest part was she always we called her the renegade nun, because she always would throw on her leather jacket in the winter and go out that door. And she was just very cool. She had a great sense of humor, and she was just a cool
She was
lady.
amazing. She was.
Thinking about Sister Ann and her mission in life, it was definitely donating her time and her talent. She was the very first principal of this amazing school, and she dedicated her life to making it a better place. That was her mission.
I think what she would tell our students today is dream big. Dream big. Because at first, 25 students were in a class. Then 50. We never thought we'd get to 50. And then the next thing you know, it's 75. And she just always believed in dreaming big, that any kid could find success and she would get them there. That was the coolest part about Sister. Her mission for every kid was to get them where they wanted to be and where she knew they could. And she would sit with them, she would tutor with them, she would work with them, she'd come into the classroom, but she was not going to let you fall down. She was, and if you did, guess who was going to be there to pick you up? Sister Ann.
Well, being a student here impacted my life as an adult because I devoted my life to faith, and it was really important to me to continue that legacy with Sister Ann. She instilled such strong faith in me that I still to this day have a strong faith life, and I owe that to Sister Ann and my parents who sent me here.
Sister Ann always believed in community service. Everything was time, talent, and treasure, and she wanted to make sure that our kids knew that as well, and they learned that from an early age.
She was also so very proud of Hawthorne Glen and the community that we had with them. During every holiday that we had something special to give to them. We would have baskets at Easter, we would have cards at Valentine's Day, just to make sure they felt special.
I came back to teach at Mother Teresa because this community taught me so much, and it really made me who I am today. Sister Ann just instilled in me such love for other people and taught me what it was like to help other people, and she really made me want to come back and make an impact on the people, on little people growing up, because she made such an impact on me as I was growing up.
Sister Ann wanted to make sure that our namesake, the volunteers, was throughout the entire school. And to do that, she started some programs here, one of which we still do every month, which is our Reach Out Lakota collection. She believed very strongly in making sure that every child brought in their canned good or their boxed good for the Reach Out Lakota drive.
She made sure that those kids not only gave $1 every now and then, but that they also got their hands a little dirty. So they would do, sometimes she'd have them working out in the back, gardening, weeding, and then other times, and even today, we still go on field trips to Matthew 25 ministries so that our kids know what it means to give of their time and, again, their talent.
So one way I contributed to volunteerism as a student was I remember most about having these pancake breakfasts on Sundays in St. Max, and I always looked so forward to it because it filled the room with so much joy to help feed others. And
I think Sister Ann is looking down on this school, on this scholarship, and is just smiling. She would be so proud. She believed in every single child, she believed in them. And to have a scholarship in her name, that's pretty special.